She had just enough to pay for her own dinner, but when she saw a stranded biker on a rainy night, she handed over her last $20. No one knew the danger she was walking into. Her stalker was already outside, watching. The next night, engines thundered down the street, leather jackets gleaming under the streetlights. This wasn't just any biker she had helped. He was the leader of a brotherhood built on loyalty and justice. Who were these men? And how could a simple act of kindness turn into a night that would save her life? It had been a long week for Mariah. A single mother, working 2 jobs, juggling bills, school runs, and the endless worry about her safety in a neighborhood that had grown unpredictable. Her apartment was small, the rent barely manageable, and yet she always carried a spark of hope in her eyes. That evening, as rain slicked the streets, she drove to the gas station. Her tank was nearly empty, her last $20 burning a hole in her pocket. That's when she saw him, a biker stranded by the roadside, leather-soaked, helmet in hand. No one else stopped. No one else cared. But Mariah felt a pull she couldn't explain. She handed him the money, her heart racing not from fear, but from the strange sense that this moment, small as it seemed, might change everything. He nodded quietly, mounted his bike, and disappeared into the rainy night. She didn't know it yet, but that small act of kindness would be the thread connecting her to a brotherhood she had never imagined. A brotherhood that lived by its own rules of loyalty, honor, and protection. That night, her life would tip into the unknown, and the streets she walked so cautiously would never feel the same again. The night after helping the biker, Mariah couldn't shake the feeling of unease. Her small apartment felt colder, shadows longer. She double-checked the locks, peered through the blinds, and tried to convince herself she was overthinking it. But the sound of footsteps, soft, deliberate, outside her door made her heart leap. Her stalker had found her. The man she had been dodging for months, a threat she thought she understood, was closer than ever. Panic surged, but before she could reach the phone, the roar of engines split the night air. Headlights pierced the darkness, motorcycles lined up on the street, gleaming like armored beasts. The biker she had helped the night before emerged from the lead bike, his presence commanding. Leather-clad men flanked him, his crew. They weren't strangers. They were a brotherhood, each one loyal to their own code, and tonight they had chosen her cause. Mariah's breath caught. "What? Who are you?" she whispered, barely audible over the growl of engines. The biker's voice was calm, measured, and steady. "You helped me when no one else would. Tonight, we help you." Before she could react, the crew moved with precision. Her stalker froze in disbelief as men appeared from the shadows surrounding him. Their presence wasn't violent for show. It was exact, controlled, and terrifying in its authority. The message was clear. Harm her and there would be consequences. Mariah watched, stunned, as the world she knew shifted. The danger she had feared, the powerlessness she had felt for months, was replaced by something she had never imagined: protection, loyalty, and the weight of justice delivered by hands she never thought could help her. As engines revved and tires crunched on gravel, her stalker disappeared into the night, defeated and outnumbered. The leader of the crew looked at her, nodding once. "You're safe now." Mariah's heart pounded, not just with relief, but with the realization that one act of kindness had triggered a chain of events that would change her life forever. And yet, even in that moment of triumph, one question lingered in her mind. How had a simple gesture of goodwill summoned such power, and how much longer would this protection last? The night air was thick with rain and anticipation. Mariah stood behind the half-open door, trembling, as the sound of engines approached like a warning drum. Her stalker, emboldened and reckless, stepped into the dim streetlight, smirking as if nothing could stop him. Then came the roar. 30 leather jackets, engines growling like predators, filling the alley with raw power. The biker she had helped emerged at the front, his presence magnetic, commanding. His crew flanked him, every man poised, eyes unwavering. This wasn't chaos. It was precision, a silent declaration of loyalty and justice. Mariah froze as the leader approached her stalker. No words were needed. The biker's gaze alone carried the weight of retribution. The stalker faltered, stepping back. realizing too late that Mariah's act of kindness had summoned a force far greater than he had ever imagined. Engines revved. Shadows moved, and with controlled authority, the stalker was surrounded, his threats neutralized without a single unnecessary strike. Mariah's chest heaved, adrenaline mingling with awe and relief. The man she had feared for months was finally powerless, outnumbered and completely at their mercy. She looked at the leader, who removed his helmet, revealing eyes that reflected understanding, not pride. "You helped me when I needed it," he said quietly. "Now, we help you. You're not alone anymore." The rain dripped from her hair, her hand still clutching the photo she kept of her late mother, and Mariah realized that night had rewritten her reality. Protection, loyalty, and justice had come from the most unexpected place, a stranger whose life she had touched with simple generosity. Her stalker fled into the shadows, defeated, humiliated, powerless. And Mariah finally understood that kindness pure, unassuming kindness could summon an unstoppable force. In that alley, beneath the rain and roaring engines, one truth rang clear. The world may try to break you, but the right heart's loyal, fierce, unyielding will rise to protect those who dare to care. The rain had slowed to a drizzle, leaving the street glistening like glass beneath the streetlights. Mariah stood in the quiet aftermath, still trembling, still clutching her photo. The engines were gone, the leather jackets vanished, but their presence lingered, an unspoken promise that she was safe. Her stalker would never return. Not tonight, not ever. The power that had threatened her life had been met with loyalty, courage, and justice from those she had never expected. A simple act, her last $20. A moment of human kindness had changed the course of her life forever. Mariah finally exhaled, a mixture of relief, gratitude, and awe washing over her. She realized that night that the world wasn't always fair, but sometimes the smallest gestures of compassion could summon forces stronger than fear, stronger than threats, stronger than doubt. The leader of the crew had not sought fame nor applause. He had simply honored the principle she embodied, helping others without expectation. Mariah understood, in that moment, the true meaning of courage, not just facing your fears, but acting in spite of them. As she walked back to her apartment, the photo pressed against her chest, she couldn't help but smile. The night had tested her, but it had also shown her that hope, kindness, and courage can create alliances stronger than any threat. And still, one thought lingered in her mind as she turned off the lights and closed the door. How many lives could change if people chose kindness over indifference? Because sometimes, the smallest act can awaken the strongest hearts.